What is happening, guys? Welcome to my basement. Today we are going to take a look at The Question Omnibus by Dennis O'Neil and Dennis Cowan, so stay tuned. Alright, so here we have The Question Omnibus, Volume 1 by Dennis O'Neil and Dennis Cowan. Here we have a warning in the bottom left corner of the page that says, "This book contains language of racial offensive nature and might not be suitable for all age groups." Awesome, bring on the mature content. Our table of contents page now, which is super hard to read because of the font size and the blurriness. Collection cover art by Bill Sienkiewicz. Unless otherwise noted, the stories in here are written by Dennis O'Neil, penciled by Dennis Cowan, inked by Rick Mager, colored by Tatiana Wood, and lettered by Jasper Saladino. Hopefully I said everyone's name correctly. This book really surprised me. The quality of the storytelling and artwork, it's really something special. I went into this book almost completely blind after a recommendation from someone, and I ended up learning a lot about a great new character and universe I didn't know anything about previously. So this collects The Question issues number 1 to 27, The Question Annual number 1, Green Arrow Annual number 1, and Detective Comics number 1. The content here is pretty solid. Other than a few issues, mainly the annuals, I really like this book. So this is a reinvention of DC's faceless detective, The Question, of the acclaimed 1980s series. So just a few short years after co-creating Spider-Man, artist and writer Steve Ditko creates The Question, who worked as an investigative journalist in the public and a vigilante in secret. 2 decades later, we have Dennis O'Neil and artist Dennis Cowan unleash their acclaimed reinvention of The Question for the late 1980s. The character himself is pretty cool. He wears this putty-like faceless mask that he spreads and peels off his face. Not sure how he's able to breathe through it, as well as this belt that unleashes this mist-like gas that changes his appearance, turning him into the Question vigilante fighting crime in a place called Hub City. His name is Vic Sage, and he is a news reporter by day, mainly reporting on corrupt individuals or groups of people, and he usually takes action on these issues by night as his alter ego. He rides around in a souped-up red Volkswagen Beetle and has a host of interesting supporting characters. His friend and mentor named Aristal, who he hangs around with. Aristal is the creator of the mask and belt that The Question wears. We have Myra Furman, a newscaster and love interest to Vic Sage, Wesley Furman, the drunken mayor of Hub City, Lady Shiva, a deadly assassin who has also appeared elsewhere in the DC universe. Now, Vic is also trained by someone named Richard. He is disabled and in a wheelchair, and because of him, we get some nice Buddhist philosophy thrown in here. Vic is usually meditating and doing yoga in preparation for his nightly missions. The Question, he doesn't use weapons either. It's all hand-to-hand combat. There are also some very interesting villains in here, mostly mobsters and corrupt crime figures. My favorite being Jeremiah Hatch, who is an evil preacher. The writing is dark and poetic. The art is very beautiful, clean but also gritty at times, very 80s and very much a product of its time. We get some superhero guest appearances like Batman and Green Arrow. Not a big fan of Green Arrow, so I didn't much care for his appearance or for the 3-issue story arc called Fables that he appears in, but the rest of the book is solid. The issues are actually a little bit longer than your typical comic issues, stretching to about 27 to 28 pages, which is quite nice. I don't like the cover art for most of the issues. I feel that they are mostly poorly drawn and very plain. I believe it's Bill Sienkiewicz on covers. Usually covers grab my attention. I feel this did the complete opposite. Pretty happy with the overall storylines. I just wish they expanded more on his teaching with Richard. I really enjoyed that section, even though it's only a few pages long. As for the build of the actual book, it's quite nice. The binding, the paper quality, it lays flat right from the beginning, and it's very comfortable to read. I don't care much for the font on the spine. I feel it's very cramped and difficult to read. However, really like the spine on the dust jacket. So that's all I have to say, I think. Pick this book up for sure. I had a good time with it. Let me know what you think if you have read it already or after you finish reading it. Until next time, guys, stay tuned for more comic related content and we'll catch you in the next video. Take care.